The budget entry, Intel Core i3. The Intel Core i3 is the entry-level architecture designed for basic computing and light multitasking. It typically features 4 to 6 cores, providing just enough silicon throughput for web browsing, 1080p video playback, and editing text documents simultaneously. It handles light gaming, but running a modern AAA title or heavy render will result in immediate frame drops and stuttering due to core saturation. The win is the price-to-value ratio. It is the cheapest entry point into the Core ecosystem. Crucially, the Suffix System defines the use case here. Laptop variants often carry the U suffix, prioritizing aggressive power limiting to extend battery life for students. Desktop versions often carry the F suffix, e.g. i3-12100F, indicating the integrated graphics module has been disabled. This lowers the unit cost, making it perfect for budget builders who already own a dedicated graphics card. There is also the T suffix, a low-voltage variant designed for compact, fanless office PCs that need to stay cool. The downside is longevity. Because it lacks the high core count of its siblings, an i3 becomes obsolete faster. As software demands increase, the i3 hits 100% CPU usage much sooner than an i5, forcing users to upgrade their hardware more frequently. The market leader, Intel Core i5. The Core i5 is the sweet spot of the semiconductor market, balancing cost and performance. With core counts ranging from 6 to 14 depending on the generation, it provides enough headroom for video editing, programming, and high refresh rate gaming. This is the default recommendation for 80% of PC users. The killer feature is the architecture hierarchy. A newer generation i5 often outperforms an older generation i7 due to IPC, instructions per clock improvements. However, users must watch out for the generation trap. A modern Core i3 can actually outperform an i5 from 5 years ago. For gamers, the H suffix on laptops denotes high-performance mobile silicon that consumes more power for higher frame rates, while the desktop K suffix indicates an unlocked multiplier, allowing enthusiasts to overclock the chip beyond factory speeds, provided they have a cooling solution that can handle the extra heat. The pain is the Ryzen rivalry. While the i5 offers strong single-core performance, great for gaming, it frequently loses to AMD's Ryzen 5 in multi-core efficiency and power consumption. Intel chips often push higher wattages to achieve these speeds, requiring more robust power supplies and coolers.
The Multitasker, Intel Core i7. The Core i7 is the high-performance tier targeted at prosumers, content creators, streamers, and heavy multitaskers. With core counts jumping between 8 and 20, this chip allows a user to play a AAA game at ultra settings, record the gameplay via OBS, stream to Twitch, and keep 30 Chrome tabs open simultaneously without the system hanging. The advantage is headroom. The i7 introduces the HX suffix for laptops, which is essentially desktop-class silicon shoved into a portable chassis. These chips offer raw power comparable to a full-size PC. On desktops, the KF suffix is popular. It offers overclocking capabilities without the integrated graphics, shaving a few dollars off the price for users who definitely have a dedicated GPU. The con is the thermal physics. The i7 is notoriously hot. In thick gaming laptops using the HX series, thermal throttling is common, where the CPU deliberately slows down to prevent physically melting components. Furthermore, at this price point, the efficiency gap widens. AMD's Ryzen 7 often delivers similar performance while drawing significantly less power from the wall.
The flagship furnace, Intel Core i9. The Core i9 is the flagship enthusiast-class processor designed for professional 3D modeling, 4K video editing, and compiling massive codebases. With core counts pushing 24, 8 performance cores, and 16 efficient cores, it is built to chew through workstation tasks that would choke an i7. The pro is raw throughput. In benchmarks like Cinebench or Blender, the i9 dominates by brute force. It is the best Intel has to offer. However, the market has shifted. The con is the X3D problem. For pure gamers, the Core i9 is often a waste of money compared to AMD's Ryzen 9 X3D series. AMD's chips utilize 3D V-cache technology, stacking extra memory directly on top of the processor, which boosts gaming performance massively without increasing power consumption. The i9, by contrast, achieves its speed by pushing power limits to the extreme, often requiring liquid cooling loops just to idle at acceptable temperatures. Unless you are rendering Pixar-level animations, you do not need this chip. The AI shift,
Intel Core Ultra. The Intel Core Ultra, Meteor Lake and beyond, represents the company's rebranding and architectural shift away from the i-series. These chips are found in premium laptops like the Asus ROG or Lenovo Legion. The innovation is the NPU, Neural Processing Unit. This is a dedicated silicon slice physically separate from the CPU and GPU, designed exclusively to handle artificial intelligence workloads. Previously, running background blur in Zoom or generative fill in Photoshop stressed the main processor. The Core Ultra offloads these mathematical tasks to the NPU. This frees up the main cores for other work and significantly reduces battery drain because the NPU is far more efficient at matrix calculations than a general-purpose CPU. The criticism is early adoption. For the average user in 2024 or 2025, the NPU is largely a gimmick waiting for software to catch up. Most daily apps do not yet fully utilize the NPU, meaning users are paying a premium for silicon that often sits idle.
The corporate spy, Intel vPro. Intel vPro is not a specific processor model, but a platform feature set available on select Core i5, i7, and i9 chips. It is strictly designed for enterprise and IT environments. The capability is remote management. Intel Active Management technology allows IT administrators to remotely access, repair, and update a fleet of laptops, even if the computer is turned off or the operating system has crashed. It also includes total memory encryption, which scrambles data stored in the RAM, preventing physical attackers from freezing the memory sticks to steal passwords, a cold boot attack. The downside is consumer irrelevance. For a home user, vPro adds cost with zero benefits. In fact, it introduces a potential security vulnerability. If a hacker gains access to the vPro backdoor, they have deeper control over your system than the OS itself. The invisible worker Intel Atom. The Intel Atom is the ultra-low voltage architecture designed for embedded systems where battery life and thermal constraints matter more than speed. You rarely see these in laptops anymore. Instead, they power point-of-sale, POS systems, digital signage in airports, and smart security cameras. The win is fanless operation. Because Atom chips sip electricity, they generate almost no heat. This allows them to be installed in sealed, dust-proof enclosures without needing ventilation holes or noisy fans. The failure is performance perception. In the burgeoning netbook era of 2008, Atom was put into cheap consumer laptops. It was a disaster. The chips were so slow they struggled to run Windows XP, permanently damaging the brand's reputation. Today, Intel keeps Atom hidden in the background of the industrial world. The defective bin, Intel Celeron. Intel Celeron was the bottom-tier processor series historically found in bargain bin $200 laptops. Intel officially discontinued the Celeron brand in 2023. The identity is silicon binning. Celerons were often not designed intentionally. They were Core i3 or i5 chips that came out of the factory with manufacturing defects. Instead of throwing them away, Intel disabled the broken cores and sold the chip as a Celeron. The pain was the bottleneck. These chips often had only 2 cores and no hyperthreading. Opening a single browser tab was fine. Opening 2 caused the system to hang. They were e-waste sold as computers, creating a frustrating user experience that often drove consumers toward tablets or Chromebooks.
The middle child, Intel Pentium. Like Celeron, the Intel Pentium brand was retired in 2023. It sat awkwardly between the Celeron and the Core i3. The feature was slight competence. Pentiums generally offered higher clock speeds and sometimes hyper-threading compared to Celerons. They could handle basic office work and very light retro gaming, like Doom or chess. The demise was market squeeze. As the Core i3 became cheaper and more efficient, the Pentium lost its purpose. It wasn't cheap enough to be disposable like the Celeron, but it wasn't fast enough to be a daily driver like the i3.
The new budget, Intel Processor N-Series. With Celeron and Pentium dead, Intel introduced the Intel processor branding, specifically the N-Series like N100, N200. The Pro is efficiency cores. These chips are built entirely using Intel's E-cores, efficient cores, the same low-power cores found in the background of an i9. They are surprisingly capable for media consumption and web browsing while drawing typically less than 6 watts of power. The con is single-channel memory. Many systems using these chips are soldered with limited RAM that cannot be upgraded. While better than Celeron, they are still a hard ceiling for performance.
The server god, Intel Xeon. We end with the titan, Intel Xeon. These are not for you. These are for data centers, cloud infrastructure, and Pixar render farms. The stat is scalability. A Xeon workstation can run 24/7 for years without a reboot. They support ECC memory, error-correcting code, which detects and fixes data corruption on the fly to prevent crashes. Top-tier Xeons feature up to 120 cores and support multi-socket motherboards, meaning you can plug 2 or 4 of these CPUs into a single board. The reality is the Threadripper shift. For a long time, Xeon was the only choice for high-end workstations. However, AMD's Ryzen Threadripper has recently decimated Xeon's market share in the creative sector by offering similar core counts at a fraction of the price, leaving Xeon to retreat largely into the server rack market. Conclusion: from the budget-friendly i3 to the AI-powered Ultra and the industrial Xeon, the Suffix tells the story. If it ends in U, it saves your battery. If it ends in K, it melts your cooler. And if it ends in Atom, it's probably running the cash register at your local grocery store.